I'll shoot 'em down.
Welcome in, latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on the Twitters, and there he is, fresh from the casino, everybody's favorite cousin Shane. How's it going, brother?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Oh, man. Lazy Sunday over here. How about you?
Well, before everybody starts speculating why I've got a swollen eye, it's not because I owe somebody money, I promise. Just got a hold of a little cinnamon on the way back, and that's what this is going on. But other than that, man, everything is fantastic, brother. It's Christmas is in the air. You can feel it everywhere you go. Christmas music's going on. But more importantly, Mike, we got some awards being handed out. Some people are indifferent on who should have received that this weekend. And we've got some games set to be played, brother. And I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up for college football playoffs, the first 12-team playoff, brother. And the closer we get, the more excited I feel about it.
Yeah, can you believe we're, 5 days out from the college football playoff? How crazy is this?
I mean, it's awesome, but it's kind of sad too. But, you know, you brought me back to reality when you said, Shane, we're still going to have college football for like the next 50 days. And I didn't think of it like that. You know, I just felt like we got 3 more games and it's over. You know, it's like, no, we've got some football action, and it's not just on the field, Mike. We've also got a lot of football action off the field this week. It feels like every time I get on the old Twitters, you know, checking my bank account, you know, I drift over there and I see, do I still have a football team, or did they all go to Ole Miss?
Yeah, so we're going to hit on all that. We're going to got transfer portal updates all across the SEC. We just said, what the hell, let's just go. We don't even know who's going to be on the team. We don't know who the coaches are going to be there or not, the assistants and what have you. But we're going to give you our early predictions for 2025 and the over-unders for each and every SEC team. But before we do all that, Shane.
Yes.
Had to take us down because of what T-Bob said. We're bringing it back. We're brought to you by MyBookie. Don't forget, shout out MyBookie, presenting sponsor of the show this football season. If you haven't already, head on over, mybookie.ag. That's the website, the online sportsbook. You can create an account, Shane. It's completely free this holiday season. But if you want to really help us out, throw in an initial deposit over at MyBookie. Use that promo code ThatSEC. Whenever you do, they will double your initial deposit today over at MyBookie. And again, that promo code is ThatSEC over at MyBookie.
And this is a good bet, Mike. That's the problem I had at the casino. 2 days at the casino may be too much. First day, I felt good. I was making money. And you know what I said? I woke up the next morning. I said, let's go double it like MyBookie. No, the casino doubled it back. They knew exactly what they were doing, keeping me there for day 2. But hey, shout out to I met several cousins up there at Cherokee, so it was good seeing them, catching some family members. You know, that's usually where our family hangs out, Mike. So it was good coming in and seeing those guys as well.
They tracked you down at the casino?
Yeah, several of them. So it was good to see those. And if you look, I got a new addition over here. This is, I've got a link. I don't know if Mike sent the picture there, but I want to give a shout out to Jared. Sent me this really cool etched glass bourbon container. And I'm sure there's a fancy bourbon word for it, Mike. What do you call those? What do you call these?
I know you're right. There's a name that's like, This is higher class than we deserve, to be honest with you.
Buddy, I was afraid. Like, I opened it up, I was like, "Holy shit, this is fancy!" So maybe the fanciest thing at my house, Mike. And it's nice. It got the bourbon in it. It has the Oklahoma. I set it right next to the Mizzou bourbon. I thought that would be fitting.
Yeah, I'm trying to upload here they're saying it's a decanter is what these are called.
Decanter
or canter.
Right.
Canter or decanter. They're saying both. So the fact that we don't know gives you an indication.
It's a new word
of how many of these we've got around our house. You know what?
No, definitely, like I said, the fanciest thing. I got dollar store Christmas lights back there shining through it. So, but it is really fancy. And if you want, that's one thing about Christmas. It doesn't necessarily have to be expensive. I feel like the older you get, the more personal it means more to like my parents and stuff like that. So doing something like this, couple steps, he made it really easy, sent it to us, and it'd be a nice holiday gift.
Yeah, I just wish I could have these damn photos roll up here, but I'm having trouble. I failed on this one, Shane. I apologize, but they are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'll load them up there for the next show. How about that?
Okay, yes. All right, Jared. Probably, yep.
I haven't got mine yet. That's why I ain't throwing it up till I get mine. I'm just kidding.
Shit. That's awesome.
But all right. We got a lot to get into here, Shane. Like I said, we're going to hit on every single SEC team we love when we have the opportunity to do that. But before we get into it, again, I got the schedules up. You know, I said they were up to date, and I said there was no errors. There was lots of errors. So I went back and I fixed them. We got correct 2025 schedules. We're going to break that out here in a second. But, hey, Cousin Jeffrey says, who knew Shane could be so sophisticated? You look a lot more sophisticated with that decanter back here. You know what?
Drink with my pinky up.
But let's go over some of the big additions and subtractions in the transfer portal, because this I don't know about you, Shane, but it's heavily influencing me right now based on who we're going to give out records to next season. And maybe the number one, I think it is the number one right now, biggest impact in the SEC. That's a single addition. Jackson Arnold, quarterback to Auburn from Oklahoma, of course, Shane. And, buddy, I don't know what to make of this one. What? I think this could be a home run. I think Jackson Arnold, I think he got he got misused. I think Oklahoma was a travesty on offensive side of the football. And some of it's no one's fault.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. Who can you blame when 5 receivers get injured? Who could you blame? Well, maybe you could blame the current regime when the offensive line is completely in flux and they just were totally inadequate. The tight ends, I don't think, were very good. There was very, very little to be excited about when it comes to Oklahoma and the offense. So I don't know how to grade Jackson Arnold. I really don't. I think he could be a star in this league, but at times he looked like, you know, what did Auburn need this year, Shane? They needed a quarterback that's not going to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
That ain't Jackson Arnold. You know what I mean? So that's the only negative I see. And again, maybe he was forcing the issue.
Yeah.
But if they can't work the turnovers out of him, that's what I'm saying. This could be a home run or this could be a disaster. And I don't think there's a middle ground here.
Well, and I think that's where you're coming from. I think if you're an Auburn fan, you focus on the highlights and the success that he has had, but you also remember, I mean, you just pointed out the offensive line jumbled up every week to week. We had no receivers, no threat downfield. You know, it almost felt like some of those turnovers were created because he was trying to create something. He was the only spark of that offense at times. So he doesn't have to be the spotlight at Auburn, you know, and I think that's going to be the biggest adjustment in the offseason is just getting acclimated with the idea. You don't have to run all the time, and I feel like he'll have a better offensive line situation, and you better believe he's going to have a better receiving core to throw it to. So Auburn is not done. They're still busy in the portal, and I just feel like, you know, this is a good situation, and it's something to sell. You know, Auburn's becoming that kind of sexy school that people are starting to lean into. And you're about to see it when we get through these wins and losses, Mike. I'm starting to buy in already, but you can sell that if you've got something to show, you know, and I feel like that's what Auburn now has at Jackson Arnold.
All right. Cousin Sleepy Earthling says Hugh Freeze got someone new to blame. And then Cousin Duddy says Jackson Arnold threw a pick on his way to Auburn.
Oh, damn. Yep.
Here's the thing, though, Shane. He didn't throw a lot of picks.
Yeah.
I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think he threw 5 or 6 picks.
Yeah.
Now I did see he only threw 3 touchdowns in conference games against, you know, of course, SEC competition. So again, not a game breaker, but he's got that talent in him.
Yeah.
And he was the X factor. Oklahoma whooping Alabama's ass.
Absolutely.
Maybe you could argue the other X factor was Jalen Milroe turning the ball over. But no, I'm saying for Oklahoma, I mean, he got most of his, I think it was like 30% of his rushing total on the season he got against Alabama. So he's a dual threat. If you can unlock that, it's going to be good. But
But
you go to the portal to get these guys to upgrade, and they signed a touted freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying, all right, we're great at quarterback. Does it concern you at all, or is this maybe just the way college football is now, Shane, that after they landed Jackson Arnold, they lost their next future star that they signed last year, Walker White, and then they literally everybody in the quarterback room from last year is either out of eligibility or transferred out of the program. I mean, where is the continuity? I mean, at times it's rare that these guys come in and are like instant impact superstars. It's usually by year 2. You want some continuity. We're in year 3 of Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
And yet we're essentially starting from scratch. We are starting from scratch at the quarterback position. Does that concern you at all, or is that just the way college football is now?
It is the way it is, but how many times did we want a hard reset last year? If you're an Auburn fan, I know there was plenty of times saying this is not Auburn football. This is not, you think about some of the greats that's come through there, and I think a clean slate's probably the best thing that could happen for this football team in that room in particular. But we're going to have development, and you're going to have 2 quarterbacks, man. I mean, there's a lot of football teams this year. You think about the 3 teams that are in the playoffs right now for the SEC. 2 of them that started 2 different quarterbacks, and hell, you could argue Mizzou missed it because they didn't have it. South Carolina sure as hell would have won the LSU game if he could have stayed healthy. So I think having 2 quarterbacks is very important. They're excited about this Deuce kid they're bringing in. This is a quarterback room that I think a lot of folks were very upset with last season, but are excited about what it brings next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's certainly, I think that so far, probably because it's a quarterback and we give too much credit, too much blame to these quarterbacks. That's right now is the biggest addition. They just added just a moment ago, Shane, left tackle Xavier Chaplin from Virginia Tech. He was their starting left tackle. Mm-hmm. So that's a nice little addition. Running back Darrell Robinson from UConn, and a punter, Shane Hudson Cack, I think is how you say his name, from Oklahoma State, where they had plenty of experience punting last year at Oklahoma State. So nice additions for Auburn. How about Ole Miss, Shane? And shout out cousin Brandon. He gave us a donation. I was waiting to hold it off till we got to Ole Miss.
I guess Coach wasn't going to give him none of his money, huh? So he got out of
there. He says, will Ole Miss be any good with all these Arkansas players? So let's get into it. Ole Miss, who they got? Cornerback Jalen Braxton. He didn't play this year. He got banged up, Shane, in preseason. But he was a freshman All-American 2 seasons ago. This is a hell of a pickup. Luke Hawes, tight end. Again, he's another one. He's been injury prone, but he is excellent. Offensive lineman Patrick Kudus. What do those 3 guys all have in common? They're all from Arkansas. So Arkansas has turned into a developmental program for Ole Miss, apparently. They also got edge defender Deshaun Womack from LSU. He was a former 5-star. Yep. And Prince Umanamielen, who's the brother of the guy that just is going out of the NFL. So Ole Miss cleaning up again early. They got money to spend.
Yep.
Because their team's going on to the NFL. So they're filling some slots, but obviously the big story is kind of rating Arkansas roster. And, we highlighted it on this show last week. Someone had said something to the effect of, well, Arkansas is just what I just said, a developmental program for Ole Miss. And Kiffin retweeted it. Buddy.
Yeah.
Not a good look for Sam Pittman and company.
No, and I try to send him a little, Grok, everybody's doing AI now. Rednecks found AI. Good, God forbid. I've seen more 3 little piggies being stolen from Arkansas this weekend, so he didn't tag any of those. But, yeah, this is not so much Ole Miss. This is Lane Kiffin, and this is what we're going to have until we have different parameters on contracts. And you're going to work the system. And it was funny, it was just the other day. Did he switch it around and start, focusing on recruiting, No, he's always going to be the portal king. Golly, Mike.
There's one for you, Shane.
Oh, damn. I love it. I love it, brother. That's what this technology is going too fast, brother. Won't be long. We don't even have to do this show. We just plug our thoughts in here, and we can sit there and watch it on TV with everybody else. So,
right, similar, kind of like Shane got creative this weekend. He made one himself here. I thought was pretty good. And people were wondering how in the world did Cousin Shane get his body on Heupel's face here. So,
oh damn! It's funny. I played around when I started figuring out this thing is that damn smart. I probably stayed up way too long, Mike. Probably like 3 hours just making these things at bed. And I came across this when I put in Heupel as a bodybuilder, and that's what came out. And I held on to it for like 3 days, and I was like, I got to get this out there. This picture needs to be seen. So I posted Saturday. We got one more week to go to Ohio State. But yeah, it's funny when we were at, it wasn't Atlanta. I think it was Nashville Media Days. They were talking about AI. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
You and I were like, what the hell are they talking about AI for? And now I don't think this is what they meant, but it is going to be a part of college football moving forward for sure.
Cousin Frank says technology going too fast for Cousin Shane, just like Cracker Barrel's seasonal menu. How about that one?
Dude, we went to casino and we went up there to eat at Gordon Ramsay's thing.
Oh, how was that?
It was good. It was real good. But you got to scan like a QR code and put your order in, pay for it. So you just kind of cut out that middleman. And, then they text you like your food's ready. So I kind of like it because you don't have to, talk to somebody. But I kind of miss the old days. You know what I'm saying? Like, can I get extra sauce? Or whatever. I thought it was crazy. We went to Mercedes and you walked in that little store and just took stuff and walked out. Now, you may have stole something, but I'm pretty sure it charged you, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. I was wondering what you were talking about. Yeah, at the stadium. I don't know how that worked, but I swiped my card and went in and grabbed what the hell I wanted and walked out. And I don't know. I assume they charged me for it.
Yeah, see, usually when I do that, Mike, I'm not welcome back to that store. So,
all right, let's swing this back though, Shane, to Ole Miss. All right, so who is it? Is it again? Who are you losing here? You're losing a corner that didn't play, but he was freshman All-American 2 years ago. You're losing Luke Haas, who I would argue is maybe your best skilled player, even though he got banged up. Let's call it what it is. Patrick Kutas, and then right before we hopped on, Shane. What's his name? Braylon Russell, running back. Man, what a wild story this kid's been. I mean, he got in the portal. He was telling media, "Hey, I'm not getting in the portal," and then he jumped back out. Now he's at Arkansas, and just literally right before we hopped on, he put out a video. He said, "Thank you, Arkansas. It's been real." He's a freshman. He's from Arkansas, and I joked, but I don't even know if it's a joke at this point in time. I said, "Well, Lane Kiffin must have called his ass and said, we got a spot for you down here." So. I mean, where are we at here? Is it doom and gloom for Arkansas for losing some guys who admittedly were banged up but talented, or is this maybe? I don't know if you caught it. I know you were busy, but we had Sam Pittman clips last episode, and he just came out and said, "Well, here's what happened. Guys come to me and they say I want this, and we say, well, we think you're worth this, and if it's more, then good luck to you. You know what I mean?" So he didn't name any names, but it's safe to assume these are all the guys he's talking about. So. Will this ruin Arkansas? Will this be the difference for Ole Miss? What do you think?
No, I don't think ruin. I think Arkansas's kind of already got their back against the wall, but coach coming out saying stuff like that, then that means they spent money where they thought was needed. And it's easy for us to sit back and talk about how great a kid can be, but a coach would know firsthand how good a player will be. And I feel like that's kind of where you're at. If you felt like he was a big pivotal piece of this offense or defense, I think Sam could have found the money. But the fact that he didn't, whatever. If that's just the nature of this game. I can't remember what coach it was. I think you put the clip out, and it was some other conference coach, and he was talking about it's not, you're not developing kids anymore. You're just building a roster every year, and I think you're just kind of like at the casino, man. You're just praying to God you hit them chamois. You know what I'm saying? That's where we're at. You're just praying that everything comes together just right. And unfortunately, Arkansas is in that spot. They're not in a spot where kids are going to stick around because, you know what? Sam's going to develop us. Sam's going to put us in the NFL. We're not at that point right now. There are some schools in this conference that have the ability to do that. Arkansas is not one of them.
Right. And most importantly, the guy that's staying, Shane,
Mm-hmm.
Taylon Green, the quarterback. So, again, read between the lines. What does that tell you? That tells you that Arkansas probably budgeted, and they said, hey, we got X amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
We can retain. Again, I don't know this for a fact, but let's just use logic here. We could keep the tight end, we could keep the corner that didn't even play this year, we can keep the offensive lineman, or we could pay the quarterback.
Yeah.
What's going to help you win next year? Everybody and their mother, I think, would go quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Because a good quarterback can elevate the whole team.
Yes.
You could have the best damn tight end in the country. If you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't matter. That's how I look at it.
That's exactly right, man. And you talked about it, health. Is it a good bet putting your money in unhealthy players? Not saying that they will be, but
right.
If I'd want to put one in that, kid that fights tooth and nail to get on the football field, even if he is banged up a little bit.
Yeah. And you know who would do that?
JR.
On this show?
There
JR.
he is.
Come on,
cuz.
Oh, reliable JR. We appreciate you, buddy. And Brad Chrysler, welcome to
the family.
Thanks to Cousin JR. Brad is officially in the club, so appreciate you, Cousin JR. All right, how about this one, Shay? This team's been busy, too. He said they were going to be busy, and he backed up his word. Brian Kelly. They just added Michael Van Buren from Mississippi State.
Love it.
Hell, you could argue. I about put this out there, and Shane said, "Oh, pump the brakes on this one, buddy." You could argue he's better than Jackson Arnold, but you could argue he's not too. So again, we'll see. He was a true freshman this year, playing on an awful team, but he was one of the bright or lone highlights, I thought, for Mississippi State. And now Mississippi State got no quarterback aside from Blake Shapen, so that's pretty interesting. But Michael Van Buren to LSU, if nothing else, he could be one of the best backups in the league and then take over for Nussmeier. Berrien Brown, Kentucky receiver, all-time leader, Shane, in kickoff return touchdowns in the SEC's history. Bauer Sharp, tight end from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got Jakeem Jackson, corner from Florida.
Yeah. And
I don't know. This is a nice little class here for LSU. And it sounds like there's more coming for them Tigers, but I'm liking that they're putting their money where their mouth is. And I don't know if you saw this, but shout out Brian Kelly. He's found a way around the rules somehow. I love when coaches do that. But he's donating up to $1 million. He's asking fans to match, whatever they give, he'll give up to $1 million. So potentially $2 extra million for LSU NIL.
I love it. I mean, that's what you got to do, coach. If he was putting out 10, 11 win seasons, his ass wouldn't be doing this. But I will say, I like it. Put your money where your mouth is. And I think this is a quarterback room that if you were asking me at the 2 weeks ago, I said probably would have been one of the worst in the country, is now probably the best. I think having Nuss, having Van Buren there to not have to play, and I'm sure he will. I'm sure they'll have packages for him. But again, I think 2 quarterback systems are very important, but I like how different they are. And that's why I still think that he's going to be a big part of this offense. But now he doesn't have to rush to be developed. And I like going up there and getting the fastest guy in Kentucky. That's another good pickup here. So LSU got some good ones so far.
Right. And I don't want to necessarily say Michael Van Buren and our quarterback there at A&M, Marcel Reed. I'm not saying they're the same player, but I bet you that in the back of Kelly's head, he was thinking, hey, there ever comes a time where Nuss ain't getting it done, we can make that switch in the second half, throw a defense off. I mean, that's a thought I would give to adding Michael Van Buren. Just a spark if you need him.
Texas did it, with Arch. So I feel like having that spark, if you will, is a great thing. It's a great tool to have. And who knows, if Nuss gets hurt, you've got a quarterback that's got all them starts under his belt. So, I love it. I love the addition. Did Swan stick around, or did he leave?
AJ Swan, I believe not 100%, but I think he left.
God, he should have stayed at Vandy.
Yeah. Maybe he'll go back.
Yeah, welcome back. I'm sure they'll take him.
Eddie, what else? This was pretty interesting, Shane. Alabama hasn't added anybody, but they lost running back Justice Hayes. He was a 5-star, big-time prospect, and I wouldn't say he quite lived up to it, but he has been a solid player for them. cornerback Devonta Smith, not the receiver, the corner. And then really interesting name, Shane. Quarterback Dylan Logarin. I always butcher his name. But apparently he's eyeing Georgia. And this was one of the last quarterbacks that Saban signed. Saban loved this guy. They nearly started him over Jalen Milroe 2 years ago.
I remember.
But he would have been a true freshman. I didn't think they wanted to pull the trigger. So that's one to keep your eye on. And I wanted to highlight Georgia, Shane. You remember we played the clip. Defensive back Jake Pope, who was celebrating when Georgia lost to Ole Miss. His ass is in the portal. I don't know if that was his choice or not, but he had to go after dancing. What's his team lost at Ole Miss? You know what?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, his locker room was emptied when he got in there, so his bags were packed, as they say.
And then last one I wanted to highlight, there's so many, Shane. But Mizzou added receiver Kevin Coleman from Mississippi State. He was highly productive this year for State. So I think that was a really good pickup. But unfortunately, Shane, they swung and missed. Quarterback Miller Moss from Southern Cal, he picked Louisville over Mizzou, so that was a little bit of a loss there. And then their elite freshman Williams and Wari went to Nebraska, chased the bag. So you win some, you lose some. You know what?
Yeah, adios. At least they're not going to see him. We'll see the Louisville kid, scraping it out. Kentucky, the only game people watch. But, too, this is, it's funny. When I always see these kids hit the portal and stuff, I always look at like their 24/7 or On3 timeline, and it's like some of them are on their fourth school, So some of these kids you can't feel like you talked about Devonta. I think he was Alabama, Georgia. He bounced around between those two schools. Even that Coleman kid, this is his third stop. So some of these kids are they're going to bounce around and find the best spot for them. But, it's good if you get them last,
Right. You remember old TJ Finley?
Yeah.
I think he's going into his fifth school in 5 years.
Yeah. And old Pavia can't come back for another year. It's crazy.
All right, Shay, we're gonna make our predictions here for 2025. But first, gotta clue the people in here, Shane. All the cousins out there. It's perfect time. You're looking for a holiday gift. You're running short on time. You know you can help yourself out and help whoever you want gift-wise, Shane, by heading over to Manscaped. Come on, Manscaped.com. Promo code THATSEC, THATSEC. Get you 20% off anything in the store and free shipping. And right now, Shane, they sent us one of these, and they want us to let them know about the Chairman Pro. It's got the dual blades. It's water resistant, gives you that great shave, and even trims you up. That's how Shane, his head gets shaved. Yeah. That's how my face gets shaved, is the Chairman Pro, courtesy of Manscaped. Again, manscaped.com, promo code THATSEC for 20% off your entire order and free shipping. Manscaped, it can't be beat, can it, Shane?
Nope. Just got me one for future son-in-law. So it just got actually it's right over here in the box, getting wrapped up. So, yeah.
Somebody's going to be popular come Christmas.
That or I get it when he leaves, so then I got just kidding. I hope it works out, but if it doesn't.
All right, Shane, 2025 SEC schedules. Let's get into it. And remember we used to do this?
Did you do yours optimistically or did you do it realistically?
No, these are all realistic.
Okay, I thought so.
And I tried to match. I can't swear by it. I'm not good at math. But I tried to, if I'm saying like this team's winning this game, I can't flip it back on their schedule and say, well, I'll give them a win. It's like
I got you.
I tried to balance it out 100%, right?
Yep. I'm with you.
All right. So, and throw us a donation. You want us to go to your team. But remember, we used to do that. So I'm bringing it back, Shane. We're almost in off-season mode, but we're going to go in alphabetical until otherwise. Alabama, here's their 2025 schedule. And I've even added, because you're always asking me, Shane, you're like, where's the buys? I've even put in the buys there for you. So trying to class this up, trying to do it better each and every year. But here's the schedule real quick for Alabama if you're just listening. Florida State on the road. ULM and Wisconsin back-to-back at home. Mm-hmm. Then you get your bye week. You're at Georgia. Vanderbilt at home. At Missouri. Tennessee at home. At South Carolina. Bye week. then you get LSU, Oklahoma, and I believe that is I always forget who those. I think that's Southern Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Don't matter. They're getting killed November 22nd, and then the Iron Bowl on the road. So, what do you want to do first, Shane? Your record or your over unders?
Let's do. What do you? It's up to you, man.
How about you give me your record, I'll give you mine, and then we'll go with the over under. How about that?
Okay. Yep. Sounds good, brother. I've got 9-3 for Bama.
Boom, Shane.
Hey!
We have not. You could confirm we have not shared these with each other, but that's exactly what I got. 9-3 with losses, most likely at Georgia.
Yep.
Georgia also has 2 weeks to prepare for that football game. I'm saying, I kind of, maybe this is cheating, Shane, but I said basically Tennessee at home at South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably a 1-1. So I'm going to probably give them the loss at South Carolina.
Okay. I did Tennessee.
I'm saying the Iron Bowl.
Oh, that's the one I did. Oh, shit, Mike. That's the ones I've got.
If we're both saying 9-3, I think it's safe to say the over-under for Alabama, probably 9.5. How's that sound?
9.5 sounds right. Nah, it sounds, I don't know, man. Don't you think, I think 9.
Now, Alabama always gets benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I think Florida State being on the road, I think that's key. Not that like Florida State's some great team, but that's tricky right out the gate. If that was like Fresno State, I think the over-under would be 10.5. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. But I'm picking up the 0.5. I like that with Tennessee, South Carolina. That's a tricky little window there.
Right.
Realistically, could get a loss either one of those locations. And I think the LSU Auburn could also be a 0.5 situation. So I just went the Auburn route just because I'm going to be a little high on these guys. I know I'm just forewarning you. I know they're probably going to be next here, but I'm thinking that we're going to have a real big year down there on the plains.
Well, they will not be next, Shane, thanks to cousin Brandon, who just gave us $50. What a legend.
Thank you,
what
cuz.
a legend Brandon is. So he's a big Ole Miss fan, Shane. Let's do Ole Miss next. And here's their schedule. Again, if you're just listening back later, we got Georgia State at home. Please, for the love of God, SEC, quit scheduling this Georgia State at Kentucky, Arkansas at home, Tulane at home, LSU at home. A lot of home games. Loving this for Ole Miss. Then you get your bye.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you need it for Washington State, but you get Washington State at home. And then you're at Georgia, at Oklahoma. Then you come back home for a 3-game stretch. All these at home. South Carolina, Citadel, Florida. And then you get 2 weeks to prepare for Mississippi State. Shane, I talked about this on last week, but not saying this is a bad schedule.
Yeah.
But I think it's the worst bye weeks in the entire damn SEC because I would want that bye before LSU or before Georgia.
Yeah.
And getting it before the Egg Bowl, I mean, it's nonsensical. So you got a manageable slate, but I hate the byes for Ole Miss.
I do. I hate the byes as well, but man, I love the home games. I absolutely love this schedule, Mike. I've got 10-2 here.
Oh, baby.
10-2 Ole Miss. I ain't going to miss a bowl this time, or ain't going to miss the playoffs next year.
Where are the losses?
Well,
Georgia, probably at Georgia.
I had the Georgia, and then I kind of like, I know you're not supposed to do this, Mike, but the 0.5 deal, I like that with South Carolina and Florida Gators.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're giving them one a win, one a loss.
If I just had to pick one, give me shit. I'd probably take the Florida Gators. You know, like you said, the bye week's interesting. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be the 6th game. So give me the Gators, November 15th.
Okay, I went 9-3 for Ole Miss.
Okay.
Still waiting to see. I mean, they'll pick up some more guys via the portal. But we got a lot of unanswers, new quarterback, things of that nature. So I'm right there with you. At Georgia seems like a likely loss. I'll probably even give South Carolina. That's probably a loss, even though it is at home. I mean, I could be convinced otherwise. And I'll agree with you. Give me that Florida. Again, it's at home, but it's a tough placement. So I'm going 9-3. I feel like the over-under for Ole Miss should be 8.5.
Yeah.
Is that too low?
No,
too high?
I think 8.5 is a good number here because I could convince you that LSU maybe that loss. I could convince.
Right.
So I love the home game setup, and I tell you what, the schedule gods that have blessed a few of these teams these last 2 years, Ole Miss. I'm not saying this is their last window, but this may be the last shot they've got to easily get into the playoffs. And I'm not saying easily, but, let's look at it, Mike. You don't have Bama. You don't have Tennessee. You don't have Texas. There's some really good football teams that are good annually that you do not have on your schedule. I guarantee they're going to be placed on there the following season. So maybe this was the last dance.
Can we do Last Dance 2 years in a row?
It's part deuce. Yeah.
All right, we're going in alphabetical until we see a donation here, but let's go Arkansas. Shane, in this one, man, we've had some fun. We've seen a lot of wins.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of seeing some losses. So again, go down the schedule here. Alabama A&M right out the gate. Arkansas State, and that one will actually be in Little Rock, but still a home game. At Ole Miss, at Memphis, Notre Dame at home. Then you get your bye week at Tennessee, A&M at home. At least we're swinging that one back. No longer, neutral site. We get it at home, thank goodness. Auburn at home, State at home. You get a bye, and then it's at LSU, at Texas, and Missouri at home. And I'm not trying to be a negative person here or anything, Shane, but let's say if we were convinced and we knew for a fact that Arkansas was like a top 15, top 20 team, this is a hell of a schedule. And this would be one great season of back and forth. And I mean, for a season ticket holder, I couldn't imagine much of a better rundown here. But in reality, literally from the month of October on, I think it would be an upset if we're winning more than 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I've just got one game. I mean, honestly, I keep going back and forth between the Mizzou game. I've given them State, and I'm going back and forth on Mizzou right now. I still need to see this roster kind of even out. So that being said, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Mizzou Tigers here. So, oh man, I hate to do this, Mike, but I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 and 7 next year.
You hate the Hogs.
I don't, man. I don't, brother. But it's, I was very optimistic. That's optimistic. That's me giving you a Notre Dame win, So
right.
I don't think Tennessee, A&M, Auburn, LSU, Texas, where are they? Where are the wins? And unless this team just hits the ground running and some dudes step up, but shit, I didn't see it this year. I saw a lot of inconsistency, and unfortunately, I'm afraid that may carry on to next year. So yeah, I'm sitting there 5 and 7 right now, and I think the over under should be 5.5.
Well, you're gonna have to eat them words, Shane, because I got them Razorbacks going 4 and 8. So 4 and 8. Give me Alabama A&M, Arkansas State. I'm giving you Memphis, and I'll give you Mississippi State. But that's it for now. Now things could change. They could raid the portal. They could get you some gems. But that's the only way out of this, I feel like.
Well, that's why they call this way too early predictions, Mike, because this may change. We always do our optimistic show toward fall camp, but right now there's still a lot of things that could happen, and this. They, like you said, they may land 3 or 4 in the portal and be like, pump the brakes. A&M may be a win.
Yeah, who knows?
Mizzou may be a win. So you may do that, but yeah, absolutely.
How about Brandon?
Oh, shit. Hey, cuz.
That son of a bitch. He's saying, let's do Mississippi State. So let's throw up State's schedule. What a time it must be to be an Ole Miss fan in that state right now. You know what?
Golly.
But all right, so here's State's schedule: Southern Miss away, This is not the year to get these games. You want as many home games as you can. Arizona State at home, Alcorn at home, Northern Illinois at home, Tennessee at home. A lot of home games. That's the bright side. At A&M, then you get a bye. Then you're at Florida. You get Texas at home, at Arkansas, Georgia at home, Mizzou at home. You get a bye for the Egg Bowl. Ole Miss at home. And the difference here, Shane, I said I hated the bye for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I don't hate this for State because you get it right in the middle, and you get 2 weeks to prepare for Ole Miss. So, again, you want a winning season. You want to win as many games as you can. But let's say you have another bad year. If you got 2 weeks to prepare and you find a way to beat Ole Miss at home, that's something to sell for next year. You know what?
Yeah. I mean,
So I don't hate the bye. Sorry, I don't hate the bye as much here.
no, but I do look at this schedule and I try to convince myself that could be a game, or maybe like a coin toss is what I'm trying to do, and I'm doing that with Arkansas. You know, I'm doing that with Mizzou. I'm doing that with possibly Florida, but even Arizona State. But right now, Mike, and I hate to say it, but there may be a real shot that this team does not win a game past September 20th right now. I felt like the best thing that happened to that football team now wears purple and gold. You know, it's like I'm reeling. This is a program that obviously second year Levy, you're going to see some improvement, I would imagine. But you know, when your Coleman leaves and you know, it's like it almost feels like kind of that Vanderbilt treatment we saw 2 years ago, where the best players are now playing somewhere else. So I don't see a SEC win on this schedule right now.
Right. So where you at here?
3-9.
3-9.
Yeah.
Shane, you're just too damn good. You are too damn good. I got 3-9 as well, and I think the over under 3.5. Now you could again, you win your first 4. You could be last year's Vanderbilt, catch everybody by surprise. You make a bowl game. I'm hoping it does, but buddy, 8 consecutive SEC games, and again, the first 4 Tennessee, at A&M. I think we're safe to assume these are top 20, top 25-ish type teams. Hell, maybe even higher, 15 type teams. Florida's red hot; they could be right there, and of course Texas. I don't even see you competing in that stretch.
And I don't want to be ugly, and I don't want to add on to it, but if you were to actually pinpoint the swing games, and I'm using quotation marks there, they're all on the road, and I feel like if you could, you'd almost wish you could have flip-flopped the seasons. Like this was this year's, just get that out of the way. And next year you got A&M, Florida, Arkansas, Mizzou at home, but you don't. So I feel like that's the biggest problem here as well.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs. That's why Brandon wanted us to do it. But how about Salt Miner, Shane? Can tell he's an Arkansas man. Arkansas could fail to make a bowl game next year, but for some reason they will beat Tennessee or 0-5 in your last 5 attempts. Could be 6 next year. So that is true. So they got the last laugh on that one, don't they?
Yeah, let's do Arkansas. I mean,
okay. No, we just did them.
Oh, did we? Oh, did we? My bad. I've been drinking.
All right. How about Auburn?
That's
Shane?
right. Shit. Damn. Sorry. My bad.
How about Auburn, Shane? On the road at Baylor. That's your opener. Then you got Ball State and South Alabama, both at home. Then tricky. You know, I don't like that they did this to them, Shane. SEC play starts at Oklahoma, at A&M. That's a damn gauntlet to start your SEC competition. Then you get your bye week. You get Georgia at home. You get Mizzou at home. Then you're at Arkansas. Then you're Kentucky at home, at Vanderbilt. You get the bye from Mercer, thank goodness. And then you get Alabama at home in the Iron Bowl. What say you on them Auburn Tigers?
Oh, are you sitting down, Hugh Freeze? I hope so, because I think the Auburn Tigers are going to the playoffs next year with a 10-2 record.
Oh, you crazy SOB, Shade. 10-2. Have you seen Hugh Freeze coach a football game? Have you seen this, that, the other.
I know. There was a little bit of a give up in this football program this year, but I feel like we hit the ground running, Mike. There is a real shot. You start out 4-0, and that A&M, it's the A&M Mizzou game that I'm leery on. I don't know which one. I'm giving A&M the win. So that's my first loss. Obviously, Georgia, you're going to be 2 weeks in a row there, but there's a real shot they catch fire and win out beyond that. So, yep, I'm giving Auburn the big 10-2.
Man, so losing back-to-back, but still going 10-2.
10-2, absolutely. And I think that's more about youth and inexperience, Getting A&M Georgia early, I think if you push them toward the late, that's why I like them in the Iron Bowl. I think they'll be humming by the time that game comes around.
That's why they call you the professor, Shane.
What do you got? What do you got for Hugh Freeze before you bury this program?
10-2. Come on, Shane. I love everything you just said. And hell, I already told you they're going to beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl. So that to me is a win. That last month, those are all wins. I think that Baylor game, that'll be tricky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving them the win because I got enough faith in them. But on the road, Baylor, this is not a world beaters by any means, but they're solid. So if you can overcome that, I think you'll cruise obviously to 3-0, and we'll get to Oklahoma in a little bit. I think you can win that one, but buddy, I think you nailed it. At A&M and Georgia, those are the two that I have as losses. So I know we both got 10-2, but I think the over/under, I'm putting it at 8.5 for Auburn.
Yeah, I think the standards will be a little bit lower. This will be a fun bet early type team.
Yeah.
Because I do think that when we get late November, they're a team that we're talking about, hey, if they just win out type situation, they're in. So, I like the schedule. I think there's a lot of, I don't think we're going to get the same Vanderbilt, I don't think we'll get even the same Oklahoma defense. I think there's some very good moments in this season, and Hugh Freeze has an opportunity to I don't know, just steal Coach of the Year even in that situation.
Stephen Up says both of y'all had too much cornbread. And then shout out cousin Glenn. He gave us $5, Shane. He said, "Boober Sooner, great show as always." So let's do Oklahoma, Shane. Here's the schedule. If you're just listening back, Illinois State at home, Michigan at home, at Temple.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford to bring him back down, I guess. We got Auburn at home, Kent, and then we got a bye week. And then we got Kent State at home, Texas in Arlington, Dallas, what have you. At South Carolina, Ole Miss at home, at Tennessee, then a bye, then at Alabama, Mizzou at home, LSU at home, and buddy, Shade was waving the flag as soon as he saw this damn schedule, and the more I've come to think about it, I think he was dead on. I mean, this is a damn gauntlet here, buddy. What do you think for the Sooners?
Oh, I think it's going to be exciting when they start the season 4-1. It's just unfortunate that's when the wins stop. I'd love to sit here and be optimistic, and that show's coming, ladies and gentlemen, and this is way too early. But just given the portal situation, the quarterback situation, the whole coaching situation, I am not willing to go on the limb and say Oklahoma is going to be pounding their chest at the end of November. I think this may be a season that's going to make or break some hearts down there. So give me 4-8.
Oh, buddy, you've always hated the Sooners, but I've loved them, Shade. So I'm giving them 5-7. 5-7.
Who's you got the 5 wins? Who you got those with?
Illinois State, Michigan, Temple, Kent State. We're already up to 4, but
yeah, I know. That's right.
I just got to find one more. I got to find one more, and it'll probably be your beloved Missouri Tigers. Come on, damn. So give me 5 for Oklahoma.
Oh, buddy, that's not what they signed up for, man, when they came over here. So there's going to be some heads rolling if that happens for sure.
Right, and again, this is one where we say too early. We're having some fun here.
Yeah.
But this is the one team, Shane, where things I think can drastically change. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Could be Michael Hawkins. Everybody's looking at that. I believe his name's John Mateer, the Washington State. So they hired the offensive coordinator. They hired the quarterback coach from Washington State. Now they just need that quarterback, maybe. If they get him, maybe we can turn the tide here a little bit and find a lot of success on the offensive side of the football. So that'll be a big domino if and when that happens. No indications that is for sure going to happen, but that'll be a big step in the right direction. But we just don't have that information right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's not all bad. I got tagged. I think Boomer tagged me about 16 Burke videos that came out. I don't know if you saw that, but that was a big one. Getting Burke's coming back. I
didn't even see that. Did that happen today?
Well, no, there's a video coming out, and it's funny. He goes in there to talk to Coach, and it almost looked like he's apologizing, and he's about to head out, and yada, yada, yada. And he's sad he can't wear number 6 no more. But then he pulls his jacket and he's going to wear number 4 next year. So he's sticking around. Dion's going to be back and actually get to play. So here's the thing, Mike. We got revenue share coming up. We've got Oklahoma that can find money to get some players. This is one of those that is extremely unsettled right now and definitely can change the outlook this time. Somebody's going to clip that 4-8 and say that, but they're not going to hear this little asterisk right here. This is a program that's still similar to, I think, Kelly down in LSU is like, hey, man, this is it. They're not going to keep you around anymore. If Brent's going to do it, this has got to be the time, and I feel like they got to put – you talk about last dance. That's exactly what's happening in Norman here. So if they don't get it, if they don't get that money, brother, then they're going to move on and give the next coach the cash.
Right. Well, hey, shout out to Cousin Jesse, one of the biggest game cops out there. Yeah, let's talk about Heisman and Beamer, boss. Let's do South Carolina next, Shane. This should be a fun one here.
Oh, yeah.
But the Gamecocks, if you're just listening here, we open the season in the Beamer Bowl, Virginia Tech in Atlanta. Then we get South Carolina State at home. We get Vanderbilt at home. Then we get a bye. Then we're at Mizzou. Then we're Kentucky at home. We get another bye. Then we're at LSU, Oklahoma at home, Alabama at home, at Ole Miss, at A&M, and then Coastal Carolina and Clemson, those last 2 at home to round us out. A lot of games in a row to end the season here. What do you think about the Gamecocks?
Mike, I would love to sit here and say 10-2, but I think 9-3 is going to be South Carolina next year. Similar situation, and but I feel like they get in with that. This year was an eye opener, and we talked about how bad the committee was, and I don't think it happens next season. But I do think looking at South Carolina's schedule, 9-3 is what I got them going. What about you?
Well, where are the 3 losses?
Well, and here's where I kind of messed up on my list because I'm trying to remember what I did with Ole Miss and Bama, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm pretty sure.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I at A&M, revenge game. I think that'll be massive for the Aggies. So give me the loss there, and then the second loss. Oh, buddy. I'm going to say I'm struggling to find it, Shane. I'm struggling to find it because I said 10-2, but I think I went with a loss at LSU. I know you got 2 weeks to prepare. It's a little bit of a revenge game in itself, but you just know if South Carolina gets on a hot streak, they're going to give that old LSU what they always do and say, let's make it a night game. Let's make it a disadvantage to everybody that plays down there. So give me a loss at LSU. Give me a loss at A&M. It's just so damn hard to win on the road in this league. And I also said when the schedule came out, Shane, if they can split the away games,
yeah,
and easier said than done. I mean, Ole Miss whooped their ass last year, or this year, whatever you want to call it, and it's not going to be the same Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you that one, even though it's on the road. And Missouri has owned your ass, and I know you just beat them. So that's not a given either. But I'm saying if you could split those 4, Mizzou, LSU, Ole Miss, and A&M, all on the road, if you could split them, now you're still going to have to beat Alabama, you're going to have to beat Clemson at home.
Mm-hmm.
But if they split them, I think they're going to the college football playoff. Give me South Carolina 10-2.
Go back to Bama for a second. I'm just trying to. I'm sorry. I should have been paying more attention. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and do Ole Miss for me. So what did I say? Ole Miss? I got 10-2, right?
I think so.
But I said Florida. So yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta go 9-3. Sorry,
Okay.
I want to do 10-2. So I've got a stretch there. I mean, it's going to be a terrible little November start, but I've got Bama, Ole Miss, A&E. Shit, do you get in if that happens?
9-3?
Yeah, I don't know if that happens. I don't think you get in.
Well, Sankey's going to change the rules this offseason, so 9-3 may get you in, but it may not if they don't change the rules, you know? And I hear that's coming.
Yeah.
I hope, we're not breaking news people here, but
yeah. Yeah, I would
trust
think
me
that
on this one, Shane.
A 9-3 South Carolina with that schedule should get in, just like they should have got in this year.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some winnable games. So even though I've got the Ole Miss, the Bama, I could still be convinced that South Carolina wins that one. This is another team that I feel like doesn't have to go to Sam's Club and bulk shop, if you will. They can go to, one of them fine, those, what do you call those fancy grocery stores?
Like a fresh market?
Yeah, where you just go in and you get like a couple, like the meat and 2 vegetables that you need to complete the recipe. I feel like that's what South Carolina's in. Just go in there and pinpoint a couple of those and they'll be in good shape.
Hey, Horton hears you. He just became a member, Shane. Horton, welcome
to the family.
The family. All right. Well, the guy that's opened the show saying "Go Cox" hates the Gamecocks. Interesting. But all right, how about Florida, Shane? Florida Gators, red hot.
Yeah.
Going into next year. Here's their schedule. That's the Shark. Never seen this team. If you're just listening back, it's a blue Shark. I don't get it. That's Long Island, wherever the hell that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a home game. South Florida, a home game. Then you're at LSU, at Miami. Then you get a bye for Texas at home. Then at A&M. Then Mississippi State at home. Then you get another bye. Georgia in Jacksonville, of course. Then you're at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, Tennessee at home, and Florida State at home. Good night, Shane. This is... Again, we're high on Florida. We think they can do great things. DJ Lagway may be the best, not quarterback, best player in the country next year. But, buddy, this going on September 13th till the end, it's pretty brutal.
Pretty brutal, and not easy. We talked about this when we saw the schedule. It's easy to talk about how great they did this year or finished up, but then you see the same schedule and you're like, can they do that again? I don't know, man. I think you're going to see a noticeable difference with the Florida Gators. This isn't a team that's struggling to make a bowl anymore. This is one of those that if the stars align, could also be sitting there at the end of November looking for a playoff spot. So I just, unfortunately, Mike, I can't put them there right now. But if there was an 8-4 team that deserved to get in, I think it would be the Florida Gators. But that's what I have is 8-4. I've got losses with Tennessee. They get a big upset. I told you about Ole Miss. I think they got Georgia as a loss, A&M as a loss, and Texas as a loss. So those are 4. But I think they beat LSU 2 years in a row.
Yeah, so that's right where I'm going too, Shane. 8-4 for the Florida Gators. Texas, even though it's at home, I think I would favor Texas. Georgia, of course. Now, I mean, you can flip these.
Yeah.
You could certainly flip these. But I'll give those 2. I think probably A&M, at A&M, and at Ole Miss. Give me those 4. So that means you're still beating teams. You're beating Florida State. You're beating Tennessee. You're beating Miami. You're beating LSU. I mean, you have to beat all these damn teams just to get to 8-4. And I think you said it perfectly. I mean, they could be a top 10 team and still go 8-4.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I do like about this one is the buys.
Yeah.
You know, you got to bye before Texas. You got to bye before Georgia. Those are massive games that right now you're going to sit there and say they're probably going to lose. But, you know, if DJ does take that step forward, if Florida does take that step forward, especially on the defense, who knows, man? They may hit the ground running, start the season 4-0 in that bye, and then now they're sitting there at Texas looking at an opportunity to shock the world. So I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that, again, Florida's got one of the toughest schedules in the country, and they're going to need, I mean, all hands on deck if that were to happen. They're going to need a little lady luck as well, I think. So that being said, I'm sticking with 8-4. What do you think the over/under on these guys are? 7.5 maybe?
That's exactly what I have. 7.5 for Florida. And just the reality, again, they could be a top 5 team.
Yeah.
But in this conference, I mean, these coaches say it all the damn time. It's kind of coach speak. But when you have 4 games on the road and you only get 3 at home, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to have a winning record in conference play. That doesn't mean it's impossible. Georgia just did it.
Yeah.
But it's very, very difficult.
November 22nd, Tennessee. I mean, that one I've got as a win, but you know.
That's why I got it as a loss.
Yeah, you know how
I know the history. All right, how about Georgia, Shane? Georgia Bulldogs. Here's the schedule. A lot of home games. Love this for Kirby and company. Marshall at home. Austin P at home. At Tennessee. Then you get a bye, and then it's Alabama at home, Kentucky at home, at Auburn. You get Ole Miss at home. Then you get another bye for Florida and Jacksonville, at Mississippi State, Texas at home, Charlotte at home, and Georgia Tech in Atlanta. This schedule sets up for another playoff run for them dogs.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be, what do you say, all on the road? That's a Sankey. I mean, look at this schedule. So, brother, I think, you know, we went down there to SEC championship, and one of the most lethargic fan bases the day before was the Georgia Bulldogs. And it's nothing, I'm not saying it to be mean, but, you know, there was a lot of Georgia fans there, have been there, will always be there. It just feels like another game on their schedule that they have to attend. And it's tough for them to get as excited as maybe the Texas Longhorns were. Now, when the lights came on and kickoff was going, they woke up real quick. Once that beer started flowing, the Georgia fans like, hey, since we're here, we might as well let them know we're the best team in this conference. But I'm saying all that to say this. If you go 12-0, you're most likely going back to Atlanta. So give me Georgia Bulldogs undefeated next year.
Oh, baby. I'm not far behind. I say 11-1. And again, I'm kind of cheating here, but Tennessee, at Tennessee,
yeah,
Bama owns your ass. You know, I'm kind of saying like a half for each of those.
Yeah.
And I would say a half even for Texas, even though you kind of own Texas. But of those 3, I think they'll lose 1. And I think they'll be fine. They'll march to the playoffs. They'll march to the SEC championship. I just think it's just so damn hard to go undefeated now.
Oh, of course. I totally get it. And you're probably right. It's just, if you're putting your money on it, though, it's like me telling you that I think Tennessee can win. You know, I've been saying that every time they play them. You know, it's the Georgia, Alabama, even that game. If that game had 5 more minutes in it, you know, Georgia would have won it. So, yeah. At Texas, say what you want, they've got their number right now. Now, that may change here in the playoffs, but I just feel like the home games, the Bama, the Ole Miss, the Texas, all at home, that's the important part here. And it's going to be, if you're a season ticket holder, brother, you're about to get your money's worth next year.
And I got the over-under at 10.5.
Yeah, 10, that's good. Or 11. I feel like this is a team that they almost force you to pick a, you know, complete season.
Undefeated or bust. Just like his next team, Shane. Kentucky, undefeated or bust. Toledo at home. Ole Miss at home. Eastern Michigan at home. Then you get to bye, thankfully. Then you're at South Carolina. Then you're at Georgia. Then you get another bye. You're going to need it after those back-to-back. Then you got Texas at home. Then you got Tennessee at home. Then you got Auburn on the road. You're back home for Florida and Tennessee Tech in back-to-back weeks. And then you end it at Vanderbilt, at Louisville. What's your record for Kentucky?
Oh, buddy. I'm sorry, but I'm looking at this Kentucky bourbon in my camera, Mike, and I'm thinking I should send it back to them because they're going to need it next year. You know, they are going to need it because I feel like after September 13th, they are going to go on a run of South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Auburn, Florida, all losses. Losses. And not to mention the first 3 games, Ole Miss. I'm not even counting Toledo out at this point, but I'm going to give them that win right now and say they go 5-7. So Toledo, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'll give them the Tech, Vandy, and Louisville. Let's say they close it out strong with an interim coach. I don't know who that's going to be, but whoever that does, let's give them a little credit for beating Louisville at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you've been having some of that bourbon, Shane, because I got 4-8. I don't see the 5th one. Louisville just destroyed them. And again, they just got a quarterback from Mizzou. I think Louisville's on the rise under Jeff Brum. I think we kind of all know where Kentucky's headed. So over under 4.5 for Kentucky, but
I'll never predict against Louisville. You know, it's like I don't care. You go in as Kentucky as SEC team. You should always be the upper hand on those guys. So yeah, it's a shame what it's gotten to.
Right. I mean, aside from Vanderbilt, and that's even on the road. And then their stadium will be complete, Shane. It might be who knows? Vanderbilt might be the best day of home field in the SEC. Aside from that one, I don't see them winning a conference game.
No. And what's even worse is how early these buys are. That they October 4th after that game, they play after their bye. They've got 7 in a row.
Yeah.
So it's brutal. It is not set up pretty for Kentucky.
No. Well, how about this one, Shane? LSU. How about LSU? We got at Clemson, week 1. Louisiana Tech at home, Florida at home, Southeast Louisiana. We're getting all the Louisianas on this one at home. Then we're at Ole Miss. Then we got the bye week. Then we got South Carolina at home. We got at Vanderbilt. We got A&M at home. Then we get another bye, and we're at Alabama. We get Arkansas and Western Kentucky back-to-back at home. Then we finish up at Oklahoma. What do you got for them Tigers?
Well, we don't go to LSU to win 10 games, Mike. We sure the hell don't go down there for 7, which is what I've got, 7-5. I feel like I'm giving them the nod on the Clemson, not even super confident in that. I mean, how many season openers can I watch with Coach Kelly and say, you know what, they'll be fine here, a true road game. But I got their losses going against Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, A&M, and Bama. So those are the 5 L's that they take next year. 2 of those will be on the road. So can you get A&M at home? Can you get South Carolina, Florida at home? Absolutely, Mike. And that's this is another team. It's like way too early, especially as aggressive as they've been in the transfer portal. We may look back and eat our words on this one here. I feel like Coach Kelly, this is it, man. I don't think they could fire him, but I do think that, seeing what you saw up there in Oklahoma State and now you're starting to see him fork out $1 million of his own money. He senses the pressure and the time is here. You got Nuss coming back. You're building some more pieces up. You went out and you got your defensive coordinator, the highest paid coordinator last year. These are decisions that you made, and we'll forgive you to a certain extent, but they won't forgive you with a 7-win season next year. So that's why I'm saying don't be surprised if this isn't a team that improves in the offseason just by the pieces they bring in. But Mike, it's December 15th, and at this moment, I think 7-5 is kind of where we're at.
Well, I thought I was low on them. I'm going 8-4. I think that whole left column, Shane, at Clemson, at Ole Miss, at Alabama.
Yeah.
I think those are all losses. And then some combination of South Carolina, Florida, A&M, one of those will be a loss. But probably, I mean, it could be any of them, but I'll go with Florida for now. But so give me 8-4, and I think the over/under for LSU is 8.5. But sounds like that may even be too high for you.
Again, it's close, Mike. They're just these, like the South Carolina, the A&M, because those are at home. The Florida, those three, I've got losses, but man, I mean, you're in Death Valley, and if they get those, I'm not going to be blown away by the end of October. Say, you know what, I kind of saw that coming. So
right.
I feel like just early predictions, I have to give you a win, I have to give you a loss, and given what I've seen, what Coach Kelly has done with the talent he has had, I'm not convinced with the talent he currently has on that roster that he improves his situation. Now, again, that may change here in the next week or two.
Okay. How about your beloved Mizzou Tigers? They talk about a schedule. My word. Central Mizzou, I think that's who that is, week 1. Kansas at home. I mean, 6 straight right out the gate, all at home. Central Mizzou, or I think it's Central Arkansas, some kind of Central Purple Bear, whatever the hell it is. They're getting crushed.
That looks like Sevier County Smoky Bears, doesn't it?
Kansas at home, Louisiana at home, South Carolina at home, we get that UMass game back home, thank goodness. Then we get 2 weeks to prepare for Alabama at home.
Yeah.
The schedule sets up so well for victory. And then we're at Auburn, we're at Vanderbilt. And then we got 2 weeks to prepare for revenge game, A&M, Shane. Texas A&M at home, Mississippi State at home. And then we're at Oklahoma, and then we're at Arkansas. How about them Tigers?
I love the schedule. I absolutely love the way this one's set up. Look at that. This four away games, and you almost pick the ones that you're cool with. It's like if you're building your roster, it's like, yeah, I'll do Oklahoma, Arkansas, Vanderbilt. I probably would have switched Auburn to Mississippi State, and then that would have been the perfect schedule. But I really like that. It's just, this is another program that's got a lot of question marks mid-December. And right now, because of that, I can't give them the South Carolina game. I can't give them the Bama game. And I can't give them Auburn and A&M. So I got 8-4 right now. But you still a win, Mike. 9-3 Mizzou. I think you get in with this schedule. But it's at South Carolina. It's at September 20th. I think that we said this last year coming in. South Carolina had a lot of swing games, like a lot of momentum riding on them. And they were able to capitalize on most of them. But Mizzou has to hit this rivalry early. And if they do, and Kansas ain't we're probably not supposed to talk. I think the contract doesn't allow us to talk about that school. But if you get past them and South Carolina, going into a bye, going into Bama, brother, this is sitting really nice. But you got to have a good offseason, that's for sure. And you got to be healthy. Little Lady Luck.
All right, give me... You ain't gonna like this, Shane. Give me 7-5. 7-5.
Oh, where you got your losses?
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Alabama. At Auburn. A&M. And at Oklahoma.
Okay.
Those are the losses there. Could be convinced otherwise. You know, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. That could change things. We got to see who else we pick up.
Yeah.
We need some impact players. I like what we've started to do in the portal, getting over that receiver from Mississippi State. But again, this is the best schedule in the SEC. So 7-5 would be a little bit of a disappointment. I think you could certainly do better than that. But that's just where I got you today. And again, I have to fit all these pieces together, Shane. I can't say Auburn's going 10-2 and then saying they're for sure going to beat Missouri. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to be consistent here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and you know, I don't know if there's a lot of Mizzou fans that think they deserve better than 8 wins, 7 wins right now, you know, because those questions that you just asked, they still got to get answered, and if they don't answer, then I feel more confident in where we picked. Maybe we should have lowered it a little bit. So this is a very volatile.
Just make sure you beat
offseason.
Kansas.
Just beat Kansas for Christ's sake, you know.
Otherwise, we'll all be doom and gloom. You know
we will pile on like crazy. That's for sure. We'll open up his Mizzou bourbon then.
All right, how about Tennessee, Shane? Here's the schedule: Syracuse in Atlanta. That's a little bit better team than people realize, I think. ETSU at home, Georgia at home, UAB at home. Then you're at Mississippi State. Then you get a bye week for Arkansas at home. Little revenge game there.
Yeah.
Can't beat Arkansas, according to let's see, cousin Salt Miner. Want to give you a shout out there. Alabama away, Kentucky away, Oklahoma at home. You get a bye week. Thank goodness you get a bye week for New Mexico State. There, you're gonna need it. And then at Florida and Vanderbilt at home. This is another very, very friendly schedule.
Yes.
Thoughts on what the Vols could do next year?
Well, I think this is I love it. I love the bye week placement. I love the home field placement. You know, even that Syracuse game, you're just going down Atlanta, 3 hours. You're right there at it. So this is set up pretty, man. And this is why I've got them going 11-1 next year. I've got Georgia being the loss, but Bama, Florida is I say this every year, and then Florida beats us, but I don't know. I feel pretty good about it right now, and I think 11-1 is going to be your record next year. Man, what a schedule! What a beautiful schedule that is.
Drinking that Kool-Aid already.
I'm in. Well, you get to the playoffs one year, you feel like you're going to be there every year, you know?
Give me 9-3. I think 9-3, Shane.
Fuck.
Georgia loss at Alabama and at Florida. Now, you could convince me, Shane. I don't even remember. Actually, I do remember because it was quite a historic when they beat Georgia. But aside from that, I have very few memories of Tennessee beating Georgia. So I got to see it to believe it. You beat that one, you can win all these teams, all these games. And I'm not saying Alabama's going to be a world beater. I'm not saying Florida's going to be. Remember, we did Florida's schedule. They got several. I think it's. Let's pull up their schedule real quick. Florida's got leading up to this. I mean, they got. Man,
jeez.
Gauntlet here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So game after game after game before they get to Tennessee. So they could be beaten up. They could be bad. It's really going to go to the team that's deeper. But I also know the team that always wins down in the swamp, and it's in Florida Gators. So I think 9-3 is what you shoot for. Be just on the outside looking into the playoff. Of course, again, Greg Sankey's going to fix it for us. But if you can swing one of those, if you can get to 10-2, I think you're going back to the college football playoff.
Yeah, well, you're wrong. But I will say this, too. Another concern I have, you always hear rumors, but what does this team look like after the playoffs? Do we lose anybody in the portal? You know, we got a second window. And when does this first portal officially close?
I believe it's the 28th of December, but then there's a rule that as soon as your season ends, you get, I think it's 5 days. So the national championship is not till January 20th.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say it's Texas and Georgia. Those players have until January 25th to get in the portal. And then, as always, there could be I keep hearing it, Shane.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even be, this is going to sound crazy, right? But this is God's honest truth. A lot of people think this is going to happen, despite all the media storm last week.
Yeah.
Let's say, like Cincinnati Bengals fired their coach.
Mm-hmm.
If they call up Bill Belichick and say, come coach the Bengals, I know he just took that North Carolina job, his ass is gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it could be an SEC coach. And there are, I've been told, there's coaches that if they get that call, they're going immediately. So I don't know who that is, but you got to think, who are the successful coaches?
Yeah.
Kirby. I'm not saying it's Kirby, but I'm just saying Kirby, Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin. If these guys get the call, they're gone. And then the portal opens back up, and if one of those big time jobs opens, it's going to have dominoes all across the sport.
That'd be wild, man. Absolutely. So I'm just saying, Tennessee, you feel good right now. I mean, we've lost a couple of kids, but we still haven't really heard that final bell, if you will. So that's the only thing is you may be closer 10-2, but 9-3. I still think you're in. Of course, I said that last year. but definitely 10-2. I think you're fine. It's the Bama Florida one for me. And I feel like those are very tricky. I wish kind of that we had Florida earlier, but I don't make the schedule, and late that one sits there.
Maybe later is better.
I don't know, man. Hell, not this year. Florida caught fire, so I don't know if we played that game again if Florida wins now.
And I'm saying over-under is 9.5. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, 9.5 is good.
Okay. How about Texas, Shane? Mega game, week 1 at Ohio State. How this got scheduled, I'll never know, but it's a hell of an opener. San Jose State at home, UTEP at home. Then we get a bye for Sam Houston, also at home. Then we go to Florida. We got Oklahoma and Dallas. Then we're at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, Vanderbilt at home. Get a bye week for Georgia. Shane, Georgia does not get that bye, but Texas does. SEC scheduling, corrupt. Just kidding. And then Arkansas and A&M at home. This is a great schedule for Texas.
Yeah, I like it. Because Ohio State will be breaking in a new coach after they fired theirs for losing to Tennessee in the college football playoffs. So A&M is the other swing game. Florida could be a swing game. I see 11-1 here, and very, very favorable buys. Very nice schedule. Man, very, very nice schedule. I would have to go 11-1, and that's banking. Obviously, you beat Ohio State week 1, and but there's some landmines out there. A&M, you're looking at Florida. Those are a couple of good games, but I feel like a team that's going to be on the road all October. There's a chance they may find a loss out there, but until I see it, I can't prove it. So 11-1, Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, I'm going 11-1 with kind of again until I see you beat them. Georgia's got your number, so that would probably be the loss for me. But I like you say A&M, perhaps Ohio State. I'm kind of giving half for each of those, but I think 11-1's the number, and I think the over/under is 10.5 for Texas.
Yep, very good.
All right, how about A&M, Shane? Here's their schedule. UTEP at home, Utah State at home, at Notre Dame. Can't wait for that one. Then you get a bye week before going into SEC play. You're Auburn at home, Mississippi State at home, Florida at home. None of those games are easy, but they're all at home, thankfully, to start your conference play. Then you're at Arkansas, at LSU. Thankfully, you're going to need it after all those SEC games. You get a bye. You're at Missouri. You get South Carolina at home, Samford at home, and then Texas in Austin, the mecca of everything you hate down there in Texas. How about the record for A&M?
This one may be where I messed up. I can't really remember the South Carolina. Can you bring up South Carolina one for me, just real quick? Just real quick. Let's see. I've got 1, 2.
It's a lot of games in a row.
Jeez, I think I picked. Yeah, go back. All right, go back because I had A&M winning that one. So that's just how confident I am in that right now. So I got Texas. I know as a loss. I believe I've got Auburn as the other one. So 10-2 is, I guess, what we're looking at right here. Maybe 9-3 with the Florida, but I'm pretty sure I picked Florida to lose that one. I like this schedule because you got out of the first 6 games, 5 of them at home. The Notre Dame's not at the beginning, so you've got time to get acclimated, get ready, and just get the wheels greased up so you can beat the shit out of Notre Dame and end their playoffs early in September. So, yeah, I think this team has got two losses right now. So 10-2 wouldn't surprise me. 9-3. That South Carolina Clemson or South Carolina Mizzou combo's a little intriguing. LSU, you can never count them out because for some reason they always find a way to win that game. So I kind of go back and forth. What about you?
I'm leading 9-3 here, Shane.
Okay.
Texas at Texas is a loss.
Yeah.
I'm saying Florida at home at LSU. We'll split that one. And then at Notre Dame, Auburn at home. We're going to split that one. So
okay.
9-3. You're still in the mix. You're still building. And I think the over-under is 8.5. But This is another team, Shane. They've been gearing up in the portal. They've been adding defensive backs left and right. They're trying to get in on basically every elite receiver that's in the portal. You add these receivers. You add more on defense. They lost 2 great defensive linemen to the NFL draft early. You get some defensive linemen. I can be convinced of 10-2, but for right now, give me 9-3.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, last one here. Vanderbilt, Shane. Buccaneers right out the gate. Coastal Carolina. Then we're at Virginia Tech, at South Carolina, Georgia State. Again, we'll get this team off a damn schedule here, but it is at home. Utah State at home, at Alabama, bye. Then we're LSU at home, Mizzou at home, at Texas, Auburn at home, bye. And then we got Kentucky at home and at Tennessee.
Wow. I mean,
that says it all right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you want to continue this momentum, if you will, that Coach Lee has.
Yeah.
And it's just you've got to see a couple of years of it before you're just not, what is it? Battered Vandy syndrome. I don't know what it is. It's just like, that this team's probably going to finish toward the bottom of the conference until they don't and they start playing. I feel like they took a huge step forward this year, but another team that's got to have some activity in the portal. They didn't spend a lot of money, didn't get a lot of recruits during that last class, so you felt like the portal is going to be where Lee hits, and I'm not quite seeing it yet. So yeah, give me 4-8 right now.
Oh, that's the Vol in you speaking, Shane. But I agree 100%. This is just a brutal one here. 4-8.
Yeah,
I think the over/under is going to be 3.5. So you'll still be hitting that over. The goal should be getting to a bowl game. We'll have to see with Diego Pavia. I think at this point it's very unlikely that he returns, but fingers crossed he does.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you're saying, who do they replace him with? They've already lost the backup. I was hoping he'd stay. Nate Johnson, one of the fastest players in the country. That's why your brother always picks Vanderbilt on the dynasty, because of Nate freaking Johnson. Even he's hit the portal. I don't understand that. Maybe they let him know he's not the future. I don't know. But a lot of transition with Vanderbilt. I hope it's not a one-year wonder. But until they prove otherwise, they have to prove that they're sustainable.
Yeah, until otherwise, I'm right there with you. And just got to see it at least 2 years, 3 years in a row, and then we could say, all right, Vanderbilt is no longer the outlier of the SEC, and I hate that. I really do. Mississippi State's kind of in that same boat right now. It's they can get off the ground. It's just going to take a couple of good years. So 4-8 is definitely not a good year. So hopefully they prove us wrong next year as well.
Well, I hate to go out on a down note there, Shane, but again, we went long on this one. You got anything else before we hop off the line?
No, man, it's good to be back. Got to go back to work so I can afford my debts, I'm just kidding. Wasn't that bad. We got some comp rooms out of it, so maybe our meal's free next time we go up there. But, brother, it's good to be back. Appreciate you holding down the fort. Needed a little break. Me and the wife enjoyed that. And, again, thanks for all the cousins hanging out with us. And a lot of crazy stuff happening, so be sure you have those notifications on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed there. Trying to get to that 30,000 by the end of the year. And thumbs up, man. Just pull those comments down. If you're still hanging out with us, hit that thumbs up. Would help out quite a bit.
Yep. Well, we appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate you, buddy. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.
Hey, buddy. This beer's for you, Mike, and Cousin Shane. That SEC podcast loves the Pirate, and the Pirate loves that SEC podcast. Hail State.